When Lincoln steps into office, his first official day as president, he faces not only a country divided over the issues of slavery, he faces a country that is literally divided. The South has seceded or separated from the United States and formed their own country, the Confederacy or the Confederate States of America. And then you have President Lincoln, who's supposed to be in charge of the whole United States, who's now only in charge of the northern part of the United States, which we call the Union. But a lot of people don't consider the Confederacy to be a real thing, that that's even okay to do. So basically the country is one spark away from finally going to war. And that spark is going to be in South Carolina, off the coast of Charleston, at a place called Fort Sumter. There are two forts in the Charleston area, Fort Moultrie and Fort Sumter. Now, there are Union troops, obviously, United States troops in these forts, because this was all the United States. The Confederacy wants Lincoln to remove the troops. Lincoln does not want to remove the troops, because then that would show that the Confederate government is a real government and it's okay for them to separate from the United States. And that's not okay. So he's not going to remove the troops, but he promises he's not going to send reinforcements and and get ready to fight, but he's not going to remove the troops from the fort. So basically, speed things along a little bit, the soldiers had been in Fort Moultrie, but Fort Moultrie can be accessed by land. It's a pretty cool place. I've been there. It's an older fort built in the early 1800s. When the Confederacy separates, they leave Fort Moultrie for the new fort that's being built in the harbor, which is Fort Sumter. Okay, it's not complete yet. It's about a 3-story brick structure, and it's on an island. It doesn't touch land at all, so you've got to cross water to get to this fort. So they leave Fort Moultrie, and they head over to Fort Sumter. Lincoln has his troops basically separated and surrounded by water and their need of supplies. So he makes a decision, and he makes a decision to send an unarmed supply ship to the fort to supply the soldiers that are in the fort. The Confederate government sees this as an act of war. And so on April 12, 1861, guns on land, cannons, mortars, facing Fort Sumter, opened fire under the control of General P.T. Beauregard. Excuse me. General Beauregard, by the way, interesting little bit of history, is firing on the fort commanded by Anderson. Okay? He used to be a student of General Anderson. So this bombardment of the fort basically results in the fort's surrender. They can't really do anything else. They're not really supplied. They don't have any supplies. The ship never got through. They try to hold out, and eventually they end up surrendering the fort to the South. This causes Lincoln to call for 75,000 volunteers to join the Union Army to put down the insurrection in the South. And this is going to start the actual war.